Last time on the Star Warrior Chronicles, the Prophesied King. As Mikey and David began their quest, they found themselves in a town called Pit Stop Village. There, they were able to rest up and try to learn more about the whereabouts of the Starblade. Mikey thought they would enlist the help of Terry, a local resident there who has made quite a name for himself, and not in a good way. Once they met Terry, they soon learned that he might just be crazy, people say, but soon after they found his alter ego in Fury. After finding him, they figured out Terry was not so bad as his alter ego, but it's his alter ego that's causing him to be the way he is. So they tried helping him, but ultimately it ended up in failure, and because of that, Fury decided to take over once more. With this opportunity, they managed to beat Fury and ran away from the scene. And while they didn't succeed in saving Fury, they did manage to get out of there pretty much unscathed. However, this would lead Terry to make a deal with Darky, saying if Darky would preserve his powers as long as Terry brings the dead bodies of David and Mikey. Episode 3, Mechanical Help. We see our heroes near a gas station along a road. It was still day, and though it was more cloudy, it was still warm. Mikey came out of it with 2 drinks and 2 bags of chips, as David was filling up his bike. They decided to take a small break there before they continued on their adventure. About time I found one of these places. This will make travel go by much faster. Mikey stood by him after he gave David his drink and chips, and waited as the bike got filled up. Where'd you find anyway? We didn't go back to town. I had a Phoenix kit for me. Simple as that. How? All of a sudden, a flame object burst from David's side. It took the form of an actual Phoenix, and it looked at Mikey as he took a step back. That's how. It was give my bike to me as he went to Pit Stop Village. Mikey investigated with excitement. Man, this thing is awesome. Do I have one? Don't know. Probably not, since this Phoenix Bird is the thing that helps separate my fire ability from other ones. And Cosmic is on its own unique ability, if I remember correctly. Mikey was a bit upset to find this fact, but he didn't let it get to him too much. The bird went away, and the bike was all filled up. Alright, now that's taken care of. We can continue our mission. We're getting really close to the big city, so there should be at least one person that can help us tell us where to go. What city is that? None other than the capital, which happens to be Phoenix. Right, you know for a fact someone knows something there? You took a gamble with Terry. I think it's my turn to take one. This time with someone who isn't a nutcase. The 2 got on the bike and they rode off from the city. As they did, a mysterious figure watched them leave. He was pitch black with a bald head, black armor that covered most of his body except for his head and neck, black gloves and cape, and he had red eyes. He investigated them leaving the scene, and he then pulled out a piece of paper that had a picture of both Mikey and David on it, along with words saying, "Bring these 2 dead, name your price." After he did that, he pulled out the cell phone to call someone. Hey boss, you know those 2 people? The one from the poster? I found them. The 2 heroes arrived at the big city, busy and bustling with people getting to where they need to be. David parks the bicycle at the nearest lot they could find, and the 2 walk out of there with one thing in their mind. Find information about the Starblade is, or at least where next destination should be. Welcome to Phoenix, Mikey. Did your orphanage ever bring you here? Nope. As I mentioned previously, yeah, I didn't want you to be adventurous. Come on, let's try to find some help. The 2 went down the sidewalk, passing by some of the busy people there. Our best interest right now is to find a help center. Fortunately, based on what I was told, there should be at least one in each major city. A little bit of searching should do us fine. Right, in the meantime, mind if I ask you a few questions? Go ahead, we got time to kill. What was your past like? Did you actually come from Starvania? Of course it did. That's how most Starvanians are. As for my past, it's really not that interesting. Come on, you must have done something back then that's worth talking about. Well, how do I put this? Life up there is a bit more unique, but nothing too different than what most people experience down here. Families are created all the same, jobs are handed out to different people based on their talents, and the world has ever-changing fields. I suppose that's something, but it's not much outside of it's a different color at night than it is at day. Is that it, though? For the most part. Not much else happens unless you're a Star Warrior or part of the Star Council. You pretty much hit the same old. You're not a Star Warrior? Well, when the events happened, I was 12, so I was too young to be one. Do you at least happen to know anything about that life? If you persist, then I might as well say that my dad was a Star Warrior, However, never showed me the way. As far as I know, it's just a job. I do know there's a bit more to it, but I don't know what there is also is. You had a dad. Of course, everyone has a. Dave didn't realize what he was about to say, and soon stopped as he dawned on him about the situation. No, I don't have a dad. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. It's fine. Do you have any chance to know my dad? I'm going to have to apologize again. Your dad was the king after all. The only people who knew him were the Star Council or closest friends and family. Oh, was he a good king at least? Too young for politics then. Think about it. I think he did a fine job to the Darkgate situation, where he died in the battle. Mikey didn't seem a bit gloomy after that. Said that. Hey, how about we talk about something else? Interest, got any? I'm in the reading. It's the only form of entertainment they had at this orphanage that wasn't a makeshift playground they had outside. Ever been to a sports game? The movies? The only movies they had were cheaply made movies by knockoff studios. I never had any experience with a sports game at all. They reminded me later that we have to bring you to a movie theater or see a Suns game. You're seriously missing out on some of the exciting things of life. You mean living it? Exactly. But first, the important thing at hand. They soon arrived at the help center, and sat with surprisingly short lines. David and Mikey went to one of the desks with no lines in it. As he did, the man looked at David in shock. Slow day, eh? The man was left speechless, but soon got to his composure. Well, with the thing going around, a lot of people are using the phone. But before you go any further, I have to ask, are you Starvanian? And if I was? The man then pulled his sleeve back to reveal a star-shaped tattoo on his arm. Oh, you went for the tattoo. I figure a symbol on your ID was good enough. Yeah, but I'd like to have something to really remember our home planet. Well, what can I do you for? David then leaned closer and looked back to see if anyone was looking. Okay, keep this on the down low. See this kid here? He's a Starkiss. The man then looked down at Mikey, where Mikey showed a bit of cosmic aura around him. The man once again was left speechless, and then began to move in excitement. David tried to get him to calm down. Fortunately, no one knew why he was doing that. Apologies, I couldn't help myself. You sure brought hope to me today. The man then bowed down the desk, with Mikey and David trying to tell him to stand up before someone catches on. He got up, apologizing once more. Anyway, we want to find a Starblade, and we don't know where to look. Of course, unfortunately, I don't know either. However, I do know of someone who can help you on that. The man then went to his desk, and he pulled out a few papers. After flicking through them for a few seconds, he took on within the middle of them. He showed both of them it and had a picture of a man along with the name next to it. This man is Barry Byrd. He is a world-class mechanic who does a lot of traveling. He knows almost every inch of the country, so if anyone knows where something is at, it's him. His shop is located not too far from here, just a couple blocks down. He should be back from his latest trip. Perfect, just the guy I'm looking for. Thanks for the help. No, thank you. I'm just doing my part to get our home back. I'm going to do whatever it takes to help fulfill that prophecy. And I think this will do for now. We'll come back if we need more help. Well, may the stars shine upon you. And to you as well. They waved to each other, and David left with Mikey towards the mechanic shop. What was that about? All Starvanians left after Darkgate took over. Some of them integrated themselves in the Earth, as you can no doubt tell. And that may the stars shine upon you thing? Just a way to say goodbye to each other. It's a Starvanian thing. There's still so much I just don't know. Don't worry, I'll show you all the customs we have later. Right now, I need to find this Barry Byrd character. Mikey nodded in understanding, and he walked towards where the help guy pointed them. Eventually, they rolled up to one of the mechanic shops in question, with Byrd Repair Shop identified the building. They walked into the garage part of it to the side, where they saw one small individual on the phone there. This small person had a green hat on backwards, along with a green hoodie with gray sleeves, jean pants, and brown boots. He also had this small blonde hair that was mostly covered up by the hat, and he seemed relatively upset on the phone. The two were in hearing distance as they began to walk in. Look, I'm thinking you should take me on some of your business trips at some point. I'm old enough. Okay, I may not be an adult, but I'm mature enough. I get it. Someone needs to look after the shop, but we haven't the funding. There should be no reason why this place should ever crash if we close for a week or two. We are world-renowned mechanics. Well, mostly you. But I'm veering towards that path. Just let me have something. Fine. Blow me off again, why don't you? He then slammed the phone on the table in frustration, and he noticed the two standing there. Did we come in a bad time? Don't worry about it. So, do we have an appointment today? We would like to see Barry Byrd, please. Right, so do we have an appointment? No. The individual then took a deep breath and then turned around before he went at it again. If you don't have an appointment, then leave. Dave was going to be upset as well with Mikey trying to keep him at bay. We just want maybe 5 minutes of this time. The individual then turned around with an angry look on his face. Barry Byrd isn't here, okay? He's on one of his trips at the moment, so whatever you need from him, you can't see him. If you insist on it, then you're gonna have to wait for 2 weeks until he comes back. Now please leave. Mikey then forced Dave away before he started a fight with them. No need to blow a gasket, let's just wait 2 weeks for him to come back. We'll get the Star Blaze soon. After Mikey said that, the individual expression changed with a surprised look. David soon calmed down himself. You're right. No use crying about it. Come on, let's find a hotel nearby. Before they left, the individual grabbed their attention. Hold on, did I hear that correctly? Hear what correctly? Both of them turned around to see the surprised boy standing with intrigue. Something about a Starblade? Know something about it? I just might, if you are who I think you are. And if he is, can we trust you not to say anything about it to anyone else? Oh, please, ask anyone around here. My mouth is a steel trap. Ain't nothing spilling out of these lips. If that's the case, then yes, I am the king of Starvania. The man then put a quick smile on his face and excused himself as he walked into the building. On the other side of the door, they heard joyful screaming. The boy came back out and he composed himself. Right, and if we were to assume you two are on a quest to find this thing, why else will we be asking for it? He then put a smug look on his face and began to walk towards him slowly. Forgive me for my attitude earlier. Let me improperly introduce myself. I'm the one they call Barry Byrd, the world-class mechanic. David then looked at him skeptically after he introduced himself. Didn't you say Barry Byrd was on one of his trips? Barry then recalled his statement and shook his head with the same smile. Now was to drive you away, thinking you were just some normal customers trying to jump in line. Everyone's me to fix their stuff for them, and some people try to get smart with me by coming in without an appointment, thinking they'll get some sort of special treatment. But that's not how this country works. But, now knowing what you two are and what you came here for, I can make an exception just this once. Dave was about to question him further, but Mikey stopped him before he did so. Great! Then can you show us where it is? You got it. In fact, you'll find the Star Blaze closer than you think. Just give me one moment, please. They nodded as Barry went back into the building. David then turned to Mikey with an unamused look. That quick to trust him. He seems genuine enough. He just lied about where he's at. I don't care if it's for privacy. Lie about something like that only spells out trouble. We can't handle it if it's not true. We dealt with Fury, and I don't think anything this guy can bring could be worse than that. I suppose, but you still need to have better judgment of people. You can't constantly assume people are good all the time. That might just be your downfall one day if you aren't careful. As long as you don't constantly assume everyone we meet is a bad person at the same time. Meanwhile, Barry was seen flipping through folders at a desk close to the door he went through. He then took a folder that said Myths on it. As he did, a voice from the room called out to him. Cody, are you looking through your father's folders again? I'm just curious at one of his travels, Mom. Can a boy be curious for a change? He then took the folder through the door, back to the boys with a smile. How about I eat something as we discuss the whereabouts of this blade, eh? They then walked into the nearby cafe as all three of them had drinks at the outside table. You know, for a world-class mechanic, you sure are short. A bit rude to say that, buddy. I hope you know I'm still growing. At the age of 51. Speaking of which, you sure look young for that as well. Cody looked at him disgusted, with Mikey nervously laughing beside. Ignore him, he's just a little skeptical of you for lying earlier. I already explained myself. I'm just trying to look my best, man. David then pulled out a piece of paper in his pocket, and he showed Cody a picture of Barry Byrd. Also, you sure look a hell of a lot different than what this ID said. I took that photo a while ago. Cody began to sweat a bit, but Mikey cut him off with a more nervous laugh. How about that sword? Right, the important thing. Well, during one of my travels, I heard about the myth of a sacred sword that once belonged to a cosmic king. It was actually proven to be true by many different sources. Good sources? Or as shady as you? Cody sweated even more as Mikey pulled David away from the table. What the hell are you doing? This guy's full of it, can't you tell? We have a lead, you want to toss away because of the feeling you have. What would he possibly have to gain for lying? A Dark Warrior's trap, most likely. Mikey calmed himself down before he began to lose it, and he gave David a serious look. Is it too much asking you to trust one person? Mikey, I'm not going to argue with this one. If you want to trust him, fine. But I'm not going to believe him for 1 second. If I hear one more lie out of his mouth, we are leaving. Do you read me? We'll never get you to go on with this. They both walked back to Cody, who was twiddling his thumbs in panic. Forgive him, he apparently has a problem with new people. They just sat there with an unamused look, crossing his arms in the process. Well, as I was saying, it was documented to be within the Grand Canyon of all places. It's in a sacred grip that only the King of the Stars can open with his cosmic power. Is that it? What do you mean, is that it? I thought there'd be more to it. If that's it, then we should find it easy, right, David? David remained silent, only groaning in anger. Mikey tried to get him to accept, but all he did was get up with an intense look that was directed towards Cody. You better pray to whoever God you worship if this fact ends up being a trap that meant to kill him, you hear me? Cody kept his composure and just sighed in relief. Seems like I got nothing to worry about then. He didn't laugh with amusement as David's look slowly goes away. Thanks for the help, Barry. We'll make sure to come back when anything comes up. Both Mikey and David prepared to leave, with Cody stopping him before he do so. Now hold on, you can't just go out there with just the destination in mind. You might get lost in your journey. It's a giant chasm. How hard is it to find? You'd be surprised how easy it is to get lost. That's why you need a guide to get you there. Thanks for the advice, then. We'll be sure to ask for it on our way out of here. Cody then ran in front of them, blocking their path. Why waste your time to find one when you got one right here? I've been to that place, and I know the quickest way to get there that helps you also avoid some of those pesky dark warriors over here, you say. With me as your guide, you'll never get lost. You just want to see the myth for yourself, don't you? No. Okay, you got me. Please, let me take you. You don't understand how much I'd love to explore this planet. Or at least want to. David didn't look at Mikey for his input. We could use all the help we can get. David sighed as he came to a conclusion. And I suppose it wouldn't hurt to have someone leading the way. Cody's face up immediately before David could continue to say, but however, I don't suppose you'd be fighting because your profile mentions you don't have any ability. Of course not. I'm not a fighter. I'm a mechanic, after all. That's what I specialize in. Okay, as long as you don't get in the way, then I suppose we're going to bring you along on one condition. That being... Cody nervously just thought of many different things he wanted him to do before he went off. Can you take a look at my bike before we go? Something's acting up on it, and I can't tell what. With a sigh of relief, Cody's expression went back to being calm. You got it, pal. It helps to prove my worth. However, if I do this, you must apologize for all those rude comments you had at me earlier. Don't push it. The scene then cuts to them at the parking lot. Whatever's wrong with your bike, I'm sure it's a quick fix. If it's still able to run, then it can't be anything that serious. Probably an oil change or something like that. I don't care what the problem is, just fix it. As they walked closer to the bike, all three didn't give a shocked look at how broken it was. It even had red paint over it, saying, no place to run. Seems like it's more of an oil change. He laughed a bit as David fell to the ground in disbelief. I drove so many miles in that thing. He then sat on the ground with his fist in anger. They went back to the shop with the bike still in shambles. David angrily paced back and forth with Mikey trying to calm him down once more. Cody assessed the damages as they did that. I swear, if I find that worthless bastard, I'm going to roast him so hard it'll make an Englishman scream for how burnt he is. It's just a bike, man. David didn't give him a deathly glare. It's not just a bike. That vehicle means more to me than you could ever understand. It's the only way I can remember them. Well, if it makes you feel any better, it's most certainly fixable. David then ran back to him with an eager expression. What are you waiting for? Fix already! Cody then pushed him back a bit as he tried to keep his cool. Now, hold on. While I do say it's fixable, there are some parts required that I don't have this moment. A shipment will take place in about 2 weeks. That contains some of these parts, and I can't fix them without it. David then turned away with an amused look again. Some world-class mechanic you are. Cody then approached him with his unamused look. Don't you dare act like you know anything about a mechanic. You can't just slap some piece of metal on it and call it a day. It takes precision, technique, and most importantly, attention to detail. There's a reason those parts aren't in the first place. So, if you want to fix it, then you need to wait those 2 weeks. After hearing this, a thought jogged David's head. He did begin to smile a bit when it came to a conclusion. 2 weeks. Just like when Barry Byrd's supposed to be back, right? Cody then began to look at him nervously. Seriously? Bringing that up again? David, we talked about this. We did. I remember telling you that if I caught him lying, we would leave him. Here's a gist. I remember once I had a bad accident when I first started driving that bike. I somehow got out of it mostly unscathed, but the bike was a different story. It was even more told than it is right now. Even missing pistons from the engine. And you know the funny thing? That mechanic shop had less of a budget and less materials than your multi-million-dollar business here. And it fits like nothing happened. So, Mr. World-Class Mechanic, what excuse do you have? A bit far-fetched, don't you think? If you're so confident that I'm wrong, then what was the name of the shop you took it to? Oh, I'm sure you heard of it. It's a little shop called Byrd Repair Shop I took 8 years ago. Ring bells? I even have the receipt to prove it. Mikey's eyes opened with this revelation. You're trying to trick me? 8 years ago, my business was as big as it is today. Funny. Then let's ask Barry himself. David then pointed towards the phone Cody was calling through earlier. It was this point that Cody knew the jig was up, and that he couldn't hide anymore. Okay, fine, you win. He fell to the ground in defeat with David giving a smirk in response. I'm not Barry. I'm his son, Cody Byrd. Yeah, right, Dark Warrior. David then spawned his flame bow and prepped it in front of Cody. But Mikey stood in front of David with an upset look. Get out of the way. Mikey ignored him and turned to Cody with the same look. Explain yourself. My father constantly travels over the place, as you already know. He's been everywhere, and never once has he taken me, or his own wife for that matter, along with him. He calls it a business trip, but it's pretty much a vacation. Truth is, my father goes to places to fix me one or two things and spends the rest of his time partying like it's 1922. Every time he does this, I get jealous as I want to see the world, or at least some aspects of it. But he insists on someone watching his shop while he's gone. While I'm a good mechanic, I'm by no means as good as he is. So it gets to me to do this so I can be as good as him and pretty much take his job, leaving him to relax for all of his life. I begged him repeatedly, at least take me once, but each time was met with no. So when you guys came with this quest to complete the legendary prophecy, I lied so that you guys can take you with you. And listen, I know I'm not much of a fighter, and I can sometimes lie about some things. I can be a little bit narcissistic, but I promise that if you take me with you, I can help you as a guide mechanic. Though I can't fix messes like those yet, I can still build things for you. If you give me a second chance, I can prove that bringing me is worth it at the end. Please? David already made up his mind, but Mikey was still conflicted. I believe you, but you still lie to us. You might be telling the truth now, but what if you're lying to us later about something vital? Right now, we can't afford taking big risk. We learned that from the last guy we tried to get help from. So, no, I won't give you that chance. Cody looked distraught after he said that, with David giving a confident look in the process. Both Mike and David proceeded to leave, leaving Cody in shambles. You made the right decision. I know I did, but you need to stop doing that. What? Looking after our own safety? Not everyone is out to get us. I understand you want to help me be wary of some people, but constantly getting on someone's case like that is like a bull is only making us look bad. We're supposed to be saving our home, not ruining others. David was impressed with his line for Mikey, but he stopped as he saw someone walk towards them. They were too far away to identify, but both David and Mikey knew that this was coming for them. Step by step, they saw who he was. It was a red-eyed man from the gas station, giving a threatening look as he got closer. He stopped right in front of them, grabbed the poster from his pocket, and pulled it out to confirm what he was thinking. After confirming it, he put it away with his serious look unchanged. Can we help you? That depends if you have the will to help me. Well, what's the problem? The problem is that you two are worth a lot, each. If I brought you to a guy named Darky Dead, I can get anything that I want. So, I'm gonna ask you this once before we start some big fight that might end a horrible, painful way. And I can easily make both your deaths quick and painless if you surrender right now. You two being in front of those pearly gates in no time if you do that. So you're a Dark Warrior. Not quite. More of a bounty hunter, if anything. I could care less about the war that goes between the two warriors. Yet that price is too big to ignore. He then reached to his waist, and he drew a black sword as he got into a stance with it. David spawned his bow back in, with Mikey laying out his cosmic ore in the process. Sorry, but we aren't going to give up our lives for your payment. I was expecting you to say that. The three of them stood for a bit, while waiting for the other to make a move, but none did for a bit. Are you gonna fight us or what? I don't like making the first move. Fine, then I guess we will then. No, Mikey, we gotta see what his ability is first. It was too late as Mikey ran to attack the man. That's it. Come right at me. His red eyes then let out a twinkle, and he saw a vision of Mikey coming out with a barrage of punches. After the vision went away, he anticipated the attack coming and dodged one of Mikey's punches after another, with him swinging the sword towards his direction. Before it landed a direct hit, however, the Phoenix came out and took a hit for Mikey. As it did, he pooped to ashes as it landed to the ground. This gave time for Mikey to retreat. What just happened? None of my punches connected. I told you to wait for him to present his ability. It doesn't matter if I present it or not. You'll never know what I can do anyway. Great, it's an internal ability. Internal? Basically means that his powers are within him, and that only he can see it in the use. Quite the obstacle for you indeed. And one I think you can't beat. The offer of a quick and painless death is still on the table if you're interested. Of course not! We just need a second to think. Think about what? We have no idea what he can do. David then prepared a flame arrow and split into three of them. He launched him at the man, causing him to twinkle his eyes once more. With that, he was able to block all three arrows as they came at him. Damn, that didn't help at all. I'm surprised you thought it would. You can call it quits anytime. Both of them were left to puzzle at this, but that changed when they heard a voice behind them. His ability is Red Vision. They took a look back to see Cody stand behind him with a serious look. What did you say? Red Vision, his ability. It allows him to see a couple seconds in the future to see what kind of attack you bring at him as the time stops. It's based on the time element. How do you know that? I couldn't travel, but at least I got a chance to read over the notes my dad brings home with him regarding his vacations. He even brought an ability to look with him. Even with that knowledge, it won't help you since you can't stop me from peering into the future. They thought for a moment, only for an idea to pop into Cody's head. He called him over to discuss, they proceeded to do so. I know you guys don't trust me, but if you want me to make us alive, you have to believe me on this. Get to the point. He can see an attack coming, but that doesn't necessarily help him avoid it in time. If you can overwhelm him with attacks, you can hit him hard and win this. That can work. David nodded in understanding, and I broke the huddle. Whatever you're planning, it won't work. I've seen too many fights in my day, and I know many styles over the years. As he said that, David quietly said words under his breath. From the ashes rises the phoenix. The phoenix behind the man flew up from the floor of the phoenix once more, causing him to use the Red Vision. As he did, he saw multiple attacks coming from both Mikey and David that were coming his way. He was ready to block. However, he had a hard time keeping up with them as they both attacked simultaneously, causing him to not react in time. With a good few hits in, they both of them sent him flying to the nearest building, hard. He got up slowly in pain, and at that point, he noticed the fight was unwinnable from them. You two aren't as weak as you appear. I underestimated you, but don't celebrate too soon. Once I heal up, I will find you, and I will kill you. He then took a smoke bomb from his pocket and used it to disappear. Great, now there's a bounty on us. Yeah, and who knows how many unique abilities they have. They then heard Cody whistling in the background, almost like he wanted the attention. I found those unique abilities and your mode for transport broken. It's gonna be quite hard for you to get to the Grand Canyon in one piece. It might be helpful if you had a guy by your side. He didn't look at them eagerly. He didn't turn to you with another conflicting look. We did need his knowledge to win that fight. David took a hard look at Cody, regretting what he thought. Cody hoped for the best, and David finally came to peace with his mind. I guess we can use your help, Cody. Is there a catch in that? Because I feel like there's a catch in that. The catch is no more lying. You gotta be honest with yourself from here on out. Cody's face filled with excitement, and he quickly rushed him with glee. I promise, no more lying. Oh, you cats will not regret this. I feel like I already have. Well, let's not waste another moment then. We got a sword to find and a wizard to beat. Mikey followed Cody as he marched away from the shop, with David begrudgingly following as he regrets his decision with each step. Meanwhile, the red-eyed man was seen in a dark alleyway on his phone. I'm sorry, boss. They managed to work around my red vision. So they did. And are you gonna just let them walk away? Of course not. I just need time to prepare. These aren't your ordinary everyday fighters. If I'm gonna kill them, I need time to focus. Very well. Even then, I have the others out there looking for them as well. You must make sure the prize money comes to the hands of Team Magnet, Darknut. You got it, boss. He then turns out the phone.